you would have store 30, another one like this, and 3 dots. Okay. Yeah. That's otherwise you'll have to draw 30 stores.
Okay,
so,
cool.
yeah, you don't really.
Yeah, that's good. Sure.
Okay.
Saves time.
So that's store 1 to store 30. What they have, this is also quite typical, they have direct delivery and indirect delivery. Direct delivery is a couple of manufacturers and suppliers, think large farms for example, that deliver straight to the distribution center. So they have bays here. You've probably already seen that, right? Bays in distribution centers where they come with their lorries and they unload their goods and load their goods. Okay, so we have here manufacturer or supplier 1, 3 dots, manufacturer or supplier 25, something like that. This is for about 30%. So this is straight. So think of this as a large farm that has one single lorry every day, which just go to the distribution center and deliver their goods. And that's it, and they go back. Yeah.
Sorry, why is it 25?
Does it say? Oh, they're 40, 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 40, 40, 50. Okay.
Sorry, can you explain the 30% just because I was trying to look for it?
Yeah, the 30% here is, where is it? It says the majority, approximately 70%, is brought by a third-party logistics provider. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute. I'm not ready yet. It's partly done. So, yeah, so you can kind of picture this, hopefully. So lots of trucks going in and out of that regional distribution center. The indirect way is through the, that's the other 70%, that goes to a, what is called TPL, or third-party logistics provider. And what they do is they also have their own set of manufacturer and supplier, manufacturer and supplier, how many? Several, right? So let's X. And what they do is it goes first to that TPL. Now the way it works is that this is a heavy-duty truck, a heavy-duty lorry that goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next, until it's full. And when it's full, it goes to the regional distribution center. The truck. Okay. This goes from one manufacturer to the next. Can we kind of picture this as a consolidator? So, and only when it's completely full, it goes to the distribution center. I'll come to that in a minute because that's what's causing problems. This is the answer to question 1. Okay, so this is the picture to draw. I think that speaks for itself. Yeah.
Sorry, is that one, the bottom 2?
Yeah.
Can't read. Is that manufacturer and supply?
Yeah, it is manufacturer and supply.
Is that number 1 and then that one?
Yeah, that's X. I don't know how many there are.
Maybe.
How many are there? I mean, if I look at the teaching notes, it says doesn't really say a number, so it's just a number.
Is it always, if you had a question about this in the exam or something, is it always better to start with the DC in the middle?
Yeah, every time they ask for a focal point in the network, that's where you start. Okay, so maybe some of you had 14 DCs here, right? But you don't have to do that. You just start off with 1. Okay. And there's about 400 people working in every DC. You don't have to draw that. But that's just for your own interpretation. But that's really what a network chart looks like. So 30% direct, 70% indirect. This is a separate company. Huh? This is a separate company, and what does that mean? As we've already talked about before, the zone of responsibility is this. And so it will only be interested in the contract between DC and itself. It's only interested in a contract. And that contract often has the form of a so-called SLA. Is this term known? Have you come across this before? Service level agreement. The service level agreement. Service level agreement, for example, 90% of trucks on time. That's the service level. The service level is 90%. And in a typical contract, there are penalties if you don't meet that. A lot of IT contracts also are in the form of service level agreements, notably server uptime. So I have a contract with my webmail provider, 99.999%. It has to be up, except perhaps at Christmas time, and it can be down. But and that's the service level. And if that service level is not met, then there's a penalty. Okay. So a contract is often about drafting the service levels and drafting the penalties. So how important is it that it has to be 90%? Can it also be 80%? And so on. And so this third-party provider only cares about that, because that's where the money comes from. Okay? That's perhaps a bit simplistic. You probably care about a lot more. But for the main part, it would concentrate on its contract with the DC. And it has absolutely no truck with whatever happens here. That's very important to realize. In supply chains, there's no single unity of command. There's no single unity of authority. There's only different companies trying to communicate with each other. Okay. So far, so good. What else does it say in the case? In the case, they talk about shifts. Shifts in the distribution center. How many shifts are there? There are 3 shifts. The one is that's the morning shift. That's from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. What do they do? Unloading. Unloading means truck comes in, 20 minutes unload, next truck comes in, 20 minutes unload, 20 minutes, on and on and on and on. Okay? Because it says here that it takes 20 minutes to unload. So that's what they do the whole time from 6 to 2. Then from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. they do what is called pick and sort. And that is simply rearranging inventory that has come in to batches ready for supermarkets. So supermarket 1 has a little batch that needs to be assembled from what has come in. Does that make sense? So that's called picking and sorting. And then finally from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. they do loading. And loading means they have their own lorries, and they just deliver that so that can be delivered to the store. Okay, that's your Sainsbury's lorry that you see in the morning. Okay, so that's how it works. And it says here that it is, so it's 7 days a week, 3-way shift, and so on. Now, most of these people only do 1 shift at a time. They never do anything else. Why would that be?
Because there's no requirement to do that. Maybe they just have a certain amount of suppliers to...
Yeah. I'm actually a bit more worried about why is there no variety. So when one person gets hired, they normally only do 1 shift and not another shift. Why would that be?
Stay focused to one particular...
Yeah, stay focused.
be repetitive and good at the same thing.
Yeah, so an economist would say there is an experience curve
To be
in
reliable,
what you do.
To be like when they just have a small amount, the reliability. Will be
Yeah. Yeah, so when you do something for the first time, you make lots of errors and it takes a long time. But then when you do it some more, then you do it a bit quicker and you do it with a bit less errors. And so that is called experience curve. So if an activity has an experience curve, then it makes sense to specialize and to say, okay, you only do that. Because if you then say, okay, well now that you've done that, do something else, you start to lose the experience curve.
Does the curve go down as well if you just do the same thing again and again?
Yeah, that's another thing. You might get too bored with the whole thing. But just picture, especially for this morning shift, trucks coming in and out, and people just unloading all the time and nothing else. Okay? Okay, we're coming to the crux of this case, which is the problem that occurs when the full truck policy, remember that these guys have a full truck policy, they will only go to the distribution center when the truck is absolutely full. Okay? Truck absolutely full, and then we'll go to the regional distribution center. What is the problem? It can take too long. And so what happens is a lot of these trucks take too long, and they hit this shift rather than that shift. Okay? So this is the problem that is described in the case. What is the result? What is the result for these people in this shift?
They have less work to do.
Yeah.
No,
They
that's not
are-
a problem. They have less work to do. But the problem is that they don't get enough.
Everything delayed.
It's delayed.